What's up guys, it's Danny, and today I'm reviewing the LEGO Star Wars 75335 buildable BD-1. Now this set retails for $100 here in the US, and it includes 1,062 pieces and the new BD-1 droid mold. Now this was previously released in the N1 Starfighter, but in this set is now recolored because this is from the game Jedi Fallen Order, which is a sub-theme of LEGO Star Wars. And I'm glad to see it because I love this game, and I didn't think LEGO would ever make sets from it because they said something about it being too violent. Which, I don't get that. Anyways, first announced at Star Wars Celebration, hence the shirt. This little BD-1 droid was brought out on stage to show off to the world, and boy oh boy does it stand the test. Most importantly, it has to be sturdy because I actually have a mock version with about half as many pieces. It is much shorter and much more fragile. So I'm gonna do a little comparison of these two. Besides the size difference, the first thing I noticed about these two models was the color choice. LEGO went for the bright red as opposed to the maroon, which I think would have been more accurate, but I definitely understand why they chose red as it pops a lot more. The second thing that I noticed that is so different about these models, not only is the stability, as you can see that almost fell over, but the actual feet, which provide quite a bit of that stability. These platforms for feet are absolutely massive, and I almost think it could have been better if they cut it off a stud or two more to make it shorter. However, there are these back bits here on the feet, and as you can see, this little section right here does move. It breaks off pretty easily, but I do think that is nice. There's also these little fake pistons that add a really nice extra bit of detail. And then you have the knobby sections on both sides, which is really accurate to the actual source material. Working up the legs, you can see the interior Technic beams are completely exposed, but they use these whip elements as wires, and I think those look really cool, both the bronze and black pieces there. The outside of the legs, though, are really nice, being completely tiled off. You've got this rounded section here, the macaroni tiles at the kneecap, and then even this greebling section right here up the thigh. So really, really beautiful. LEGO did a really nice job of designing that. But then the one thing that I don't love so much is the fact that the knees and the ankles are actually completely fixed. You can't pose those. The only movable section of the model are these hip joints right here, which move forwards and backwards. And I can kind of understand why you'd want to move it outwards a little bit, and then the toes point forward and he has better balance. But this, I don't think that looks quite right. I think about right here with one of them popped open a little bit further than the other poses him at a really nice stance, so that looks the best overall. Now, had this joint actually been up and down versus forward and backwards, I think you would have gotten the ability to pull the legs apart a little bit more so that it would have just one more bit of posability. Taking a closer look at this body, you can see the nice little splash of red there in the middle with some nice greebling details. It's attached to the body section actually really solidly, and then on the back, I feel like the designers kind of went crazy with the grill pieces there. But again, more greebling and a little splash of red there to spice things up. The legs are great, but what's even greater is the head, which is quite wobbly. I mean, this guy's like walking forward and he's just a total scatterbot. Nonetheless, this wobbly droid is sturdy, but the head is very tipsy-topsy. So as you can see, you can tilt the head up off of this connection back here, and you are left with a gaping wide hole, not only here for the head to tilt side to side, but this section right here is completely open, which is a little bit bothersome. Not that I think you'd really display it like this, maybe if he's on the floor looking up at you, but having this massive opening here doesn't really make sense. This section right here, however, is a slide out compartment which houses those stim canisters. And in order to access these stim canisters, you kind of have to grab the head or else it kind of gets away from you a little bit. This drawer only slides out about this much, so it is pretty difficult to get into there. So I kind of have to just like invert the entire model. Alternatively, you can just break it off, and that's another way to access it. But here are the 3 stim canisters, which you definitely have to utilize in the game. Hit me! So it's fun to see those in here as an added play feature. Those just slide in there, and that drawer slides closed, although it can kind of come open a little bit if you tilt the head very aggressively like this, which I don't think anybody will be doing. It's not exactly a play set. So looking at the rest of the head here, we've got these sensor eyes, and these optical lenses actually in the game have several functions, from being a spotlight to a scomp link, and in LEGO form, they just look really nice with this extra splash of red right here. I think they used really good elements for the eyes. I love this transparent blue piece, and what's really cool is actually during the build, you really see this come together. These two sections right here are built in, and then these two like canopies connect right into place. So you can see how that just so satisfyingly connects right to the edge of the eyepiece, and that is beautiful. Going right along to the side of the head, you can see a comparison with the source material of just how accurate the coloration and design of the side of the head is from this little section here to the ear antenna pieces. I will say though, it would have been nice to have a little black bit at the end of the antenna piece. As you can see, the mock version actually has this little piece here at the end. I feel like the antennas are a little bit better on the mock version. These are just a little bit too small, a little bit light, and a little bit at the end would have been nice. The other thing that I noticed is that this kind of just reminds me of Wall-E. The face looks like Wall-E a bit, and I think it's because these come down so far. And if you wanted to adjust them up, then you don't get that nice satisfying connection. Whereas you notice if you kind of adjust these upwards, it almost changes the facial expression of the droid. I know, right? Droids have facial expressions. Do they have emotions too? That being said, the back of the head is actually really beautiful as well. So we have all the circuitry represented by one blue transparent tiles, and I think this looks phenomenal. Not only that, but there's also this extra bit of detail just on the bottom. So this is so cool. I really like the back section of this droid, and like I said, the head looks really good. The whole thing is designed so well, and I mean, ultimately, just look at those eyes. One thing that I don't love, however, is the fact that there's just like these two gaping holes, which if you would just put a 2x2 white tile there, it would look so much better. Overall, though, I think LEGO did a phenomenal job on this model. The only criticisms I have are those 2 foot tiles I wish they would have added. I guess I kind of wish there were tiles on the top of the head here as well. And the coloration definitely could have been maroon instead of this bright red. However, the greebling and details and just tiles on the side of the legs look fantastic. This little connection was a joy to build. I think it's pretty safe to say that the designers prioritized structural integrity and the ability for this to really stand on its own. This isn't the first 2-legged walker that LEGO Star Wars designers have had to conquer, but definitely one that is more top-heavy. With this being wobbly, there's a lot of room for it to be able to fall over, but it doesn't. You can actually bump into it just fine, and it stays upright, partially due to those speedboats for feet. Now, taking a look at this mock version here, it is not sturdy whatsoever. It uses ball joints in the connections for the ankles. There's also a loose connection on the knees, and there's also a ball joint for the hips. So as you can imagine, this thing really tends to fall all over the place, especially with a top-heavy head. So this is quite hard to pose. It's actually only connected by 4 studs. But one thing I do like about this is the posability of the side flaps here. It also has a different circuit board on the back. And for something that has less than half the amount of pieces and standing about 2/3 of the height, I think this does the job pretty well. But to source parts for this was like $70. So to get something so much larger, so much more robust, for just $100 makes a lot of sense. Now, is it worth the full $100 price point? Well, you tell me in the comments below if you think so. It is on sale already at Costco for 20% off, so I do believe you can pick it up for about $80, which I would say is more than a fair price. And don't forget, this also includes a plaque and a minifigure. Just for comparison, I have Pelimoto holding both of these BD molds, and remember, this blue one here was released in the N1 Starfighter. This new one, though, has a fabulous print with red not only on the legs, but on the head and also on the eye sensor, so I'm happy to see that there is quite a bit of difference in the 2 prints. Now, the plaque here says that this manufacturer was the Behold UR Droid Concepts. The model is a BD Explorer droid standing 0.43 meters tall. Its primary functions are navigation and repair, and it's equipped with a Spotlight, Scomp Link, color projector, and stim canister storage. So that's it for the plaque. I do think this is a really good model. It is pretty close to life-size representation, and so I really like that factor. In fact, I might even bump this up to a 9.5 out of 10. What the heck? But let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. If you haven't picked this one up already, I do have affiliate links down in the description below, so feel free to use those to support the channel. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and happy building.